All right, welcome back to our big review. So now we're going to make this card game. Compare, draw two cards, and compare. Do you got a flush? Got a pair? Who's got the highest card? See who wins. So these are the things we're going to be doing here. In the last video, we made this class, so kind of like a folder that's attached all these things together. There's all these tools we've made that's going to make making this game really quick. Now the only other problem here is in our index, we need to say, hey, we're actually using this file now. Now we do have to decide which one runs first. Now, because the game utilities is kind of the tool and the big review is kind of where everything's happening. Where everything's happening is what I want last. I want kind of my tools first. And I'm not really using the right name, but just trying to use some words that maybe make this more sense. The nice thing about this program, it kind of gives you the options. I want big review.js. And there we go, /script. And it automatically does this as well. It's just, I love this IDE. It's awesome. All right, so now we got that. We're going to save the index.html. Make sure you save it or it won't work. You'll be really confused. It happens to me more than it should. So I'm going to go to my big review. And let's start coding this. Just got to make sure I'm doing this the way I want. So the first thing, we need some variables. We need the two hands. Now I want to keep each person's hand separate, and the hands will change. So we're going to use that let, and then player hand, and I'm just going to make an empty array. So remember arrays, like you could go like 3, 4, and just separated by commas, and we can have as many as we want. I mean, memory's a problem. And then we want the casino's hand. So I want my two cards in one array, casino hands in the other array. So casino hand, and it will be an empty array as well. All right, and I know this is using a lot of the stuff that we did last year, and it's been a while. So, okay, so next I want to set the player hands. That's actually, oh, sorry, I did not do that space. So first, I'm going to do my player hand, and there is other ways to do this. Okay, so, but I'm going to use the index. Remember, we start with 0 is our first one in the array, and now this is where it's weird. I want to get a random number. So if I go back to game utilities, I see that, hey, my function, or static function in this case, is called getRandom. But if I go to here and say, hey, getRandom, you actually will see right here, it's not really pulling this function up even. It doesn't know where it is. And the reason is we have to go game utilities, and it's pulling that up right now. So we're saying, hey, go to that folder, go to that class, and I go dot. And now we have all these functions we made. The green ones are the functions we made. And we want getRandom. And actually, it's really nice. It's even here. I could click on it. And there you go. And how many cards do I want? I want 13 cards, my max. All right, there we go, done. So it's going to call that function, and it's going to, okay, from 1 to 13. There we go. Next, I want the second card, so player hand. Now there's a lot of entering I'm doing here. It's just using the IDE. It kind of knows what I want as I'm doing it. Game utilities, .getRandom, 13. Maybe at this point, you're like, there might be a faster way. I could probably just copy and paste this now. And I want the casino hand instead. Now there's even some cool little tricks for this too that I'll show you later on, because you can edit multiple lines at once. It's amazing. So there we go. Now let's just see if this is working properly. So let's do an alert, and let's figure out what the player hand is. And I also want to know what the casino hand is. Just make sure that's working. My port seems to be working, so let's just see. I got 10.5, 13.11, so something's working in there, which is good. Let's just do one of them, if we can make sure that that one isn't working. There we go. Yeah, that one's working for sure, just the way I typed it in there. And let's do casino hand. That one doesn't seem to be, oh yeah, we're good. All right, 4.1, perfect. It's still working. Both hands are working. Excellent. So now, at this moment, at line 11, we know that both people have some numbers. Okay, so it could be 3 of what? And the what is the next thing we have to deal with. So you're already seeing that there's really not a lot of code here. We're just using the code from the other one. So next, player suits. So same thing. We're going to make 2 empty arrays. So player suit, capitalize suit. Now we'll make an empty array, and then casino suit, and again empty array. So it's creating, initializing an array, creating an array, and kind of the same thing. We're going to use the index 0 and 1. So player suit, and I want that to be the first one. And again, I want to use get suit because I just want a random suit, either clubs, diamonds, hearts, spades. So we don't need all this code over and over again. So we're going to need to go into our game utilities folder or class, and then period. And you know what? I'm just going to click on it, get suit. This one didn't require a parameter. It even tells us the possibilities here. It's amazing. I love it. Okay, so let's just copy this and then paste, paste, paste. Okay, so the player only needs 2 suits, one index 1, index 0. Just so we're aware here, these are parallel arrays now, these player suit, player hand. Like the 0 number goes with the 0 suit, right? Index 0, index 0, index 1, index 1. We will be using that. And then here, I want this to be casino. Same thing for the casino. Casino, and then this one is 1. All right, and just like that, this code is all of this code right here 4 times. So I mean, we've saved ourselves a substantial amount of work here. And it looks a lot more cleaner because we don't have the functions on the same page. So far things are looking pretty good. But let's just make sure everything's working with that. So let's do an alert. And let's just do player suit. I'm going to assume if one is working, the other's probably working, but maybe that's a false assumption. All right, looks like we have hearts and diamonds. Let's do another one. That can't be. Yeah, there we go. Spades, hearts. Perfect. I was saying can't be. Math-wise didn't seem very well. Okay. Next. So far this is going pretty well. This seems like it's going pretty quick because we already have everything built. Displaying hands. All right. Well, we're going to do an alert. And in that alert, I want to say the player has a, and this is where we can go. We have player hand 1. And oh, I'm doing this 2 different ways. Sorry. I remember now. I've got all this different ways through here I want to show you. So I'm going to show you a second way of concatenating this. Sorry, I got distracted here by my own. There we go. So I want player hand, just the 0 one, and then plus. So player hand, this is the number. So like this, the player has a 3, and then we want of. So we'll put a space. And then we can go plus. And then we want what suit. So we're going to go player suit. Okay, and so that should be 0 as well, because they're parallel arrays. And then we want to concatenate this again, and for their second card. And for our second card, concatenate player and 1. Sorry, I moved the mic, I think, so you can't hear the mouse as much. And then player, sorry, and a 3 of player suit 1. All right, so does that make sense? I think so. Let's just try it out and see how it looks. If there's a space issue or something, we can always fix that. I think I have spaces where I want them. It's very angry. Didn't do anything. So let's just see. Did I possibly... Oh, there's a little red line under this. So I bet you I have an extra of those there. There we go. Oh yeah, and prettier even made it. Yeah, I don't know if I like it like that. There we go. The player has a 12 of hearts and a 9 of hearts. Okay. Now you will remember that we actually made a print card. So maybe this was unnecessary? I'm going to let you see if you can figure out how to get that in there. Because I could do it that way, but there's actually another thing I want to show you. Because this is kind of getting hard to read, right? Like, we've got all these pluses in here, and then we've got a quotation marks. It's just kind of a nightmare to read. So there's another way of doing this. And it's really good for actually like React, which is a high-level JavaScript. It's on the left side of your keyboard. I don't know what this thing is actually called. It's under the escape button. This will make it so we don't have to put these quotation marks anymore. Or sorry, this add and this quotation. So it's much easier to read. So it'll be like the casino has, so far. And instead, we're still going to put, we have to do something special here to let the computer know, like, hey, no, this is actually a function or a number or a variable. So not a number, but a variable or a function. So we put a money sign and then the curly brackets, and then you can call any function you want in there. Okay, any function at all. So here, I'm just going to call the casino hand and 0. And notice I'm outside of that curly brace again. I can just write normally. It's not a problem. And then and again, now I've got to do the suit. So money symbol, curly brackets. So then casino suit. And again, these are parallel. Oh, we're inside. That's the wrong color. And now for our second card, casino hand. Casino. Then we'll do the second array, get outside of, and our second suit. So again, money symbol. So I like this way better. It might be that I've spent more time doing React though, but I do find, and when you want to do functions, it's really nice. And as we get further on, hopefully you'll see the benefit of that one. But yet another way to do something. All right, it seems like it's going to work. So the player has, the casino has, excellent. We've got this pretty close now. So all that's left is to say who wins. So we're going to compare flushes, pairs, and highest card. We actually have all these functions made already, right? Like, that's what we did. Is it a pair? Is it a flush? Get the highest. I'm only going to do one of these, and I'm going to let you try to figure out the other ones. And then in class after, we can figure out. If you're having problems, we can go through that. So I'm just going to compare flushes. Now, a lot of this code does become repetitive, so be aware of that. So first I want to see if the player has a flush. Or actually, it should be if the casino... Oh yeah, so I want to see if the player has a flush, but the casino doesn't. Okay, so I'm going to make a little note of that. Player has a flush, but not the casino. Because if they both have a flush, so if they both have matching cards, then you have to see if either of them have a pair. And if they, well, I guess that's not possible. Then you have to see who has the higher card then. Okay, so we'll say the player has a flush but not a card. That's the first check. So I'm going to go if, and I'm going to go into my game utilities and check if it's a flush. So I'm going to say is flush, because that's our game utility. It's going to say true or false. That's all it's going to give me, true or false. And I'm going to go player suit. Player suit 0, so that's the 0 index. And I want that to compare with the second suit. So player suit, the second one. Now if I just ran this now, this whole thing here is going to become either true or false. That's all that's going to happen. It's going to become a single Boolean value, because that's what is flush returns. It returns a Boolean value. So true or false. Now, that only tells me if the player has a flush. But I want to also know at the same time, does the casino not have a flush? So first let's write the part as if the casino did have a flush. So we'll do end. So game utilities dot, and then which function we want to call. So does the casino have a flush? So let's compare their two. So casino suit, and compare the first one in the array with the second one in the array. So casino suit. And I know this is a lot to take in. Okay, so again, this part here is going to return true or false. So the way we've coded it right now, we're actually looking if these are both true. We want it so the player's true, but the casino's not. And so to get the false version, you just put an exclamation mark. So now it's looking to see if this is false. Now what happens if it is in fact false? Sorry, we have a flush, casino doesn't. I'm trying to find my curly bracket. Oh, it's good. We're good here. Okay, so if that happens, it's simple. I just want to do alert. Player wins. That's it. Or I maybe let's say with a flush, so we know why they won. With a flush. You can be really excited about that. There we go. Now, if that's not the case, and we could test this out, but then you're going to be sitting there refreshing lots because it's not going to happen that often. Now, if that's not true, and notice that we're doing these in order, right? We want, if the first one's true, then we are not true, then we go to the next one. So then else if. Now, this one is going to be very, very similar to the other one. But this time we're going to check casino as a flush, but not the player. Okay, so you know what? I can almost copy all of this code. So we don't worry, we're not going to just sit here and redo the same thing over and over again. So I just need to get rid of that one. There we go. So that's the exact same code. Just going to make sure my brackets are in the right spot. Don't have an extra bracket yet. We're good. Curly brace. Oh, I don't have a curly brace. Okay, would have been. Just a double check. There we go. We're good. We are good. All right. So let's get rid of this exclamation mark. We actually want that to be true. We want the player part to be false. So we're going to put an exclamation mark here. And that's going to say we want this whole thing to be false. We want this thing to be true. And if that's true, this is a casino wins with a flush. So not too bad. Again, we're using those utilities we already made to make it so we're not doing logic in the middle of this. Or this would get, it already doesn't look that good. I think if I had saved prettier, yeah, it makes it look so nice. It's much, much more readable now. Remember, enter spaces don't really matter here in your if statements. So, okay. And then finally, if we both have a flush is the last one. So let's do an else if here. So give myself some, so we'll say, hey, they both have a flush. All right, so that's both are now true. So I've got rid of the exclamation mark, they're both true. We actually can't just alert casino wins because we don't know who wins at that point. The person with the highest card wins. Now, fortunately for us, we actually have something for that. We have a highest card, get highest. Okay. So we actually need to do another if statement. So now we need to check who has the highest card. Now I'll just make it like pretty. It's called prettier. It makes it so it looks so nice. So the first thing I'm going to see is what is the player's highest card. So I'm going to do game utilities dot and then get highest. And now I have to just feed in both players' cards. So player hand 0 and then player hand 1. And the other thing I want to do is I want to get the highest of the casino. So it gets casino hand, and we want the 0, and casino hand 1. Okay, so what this is going to do is this is going to turn into the player's biggest hand number on the hand, and this is going to turn into the casino's biggest number. Because remember, if we look at the return, it returns a number, it returns the maximum number from the numbers we input into it. Now, what do we want to do? We can either see, we want to see which one's bigger, so you can use a greater than or less than. I'm going to see if the player has a bigger hand or a bigger card. So if the player has a bigger card, then I'm going to do an alert. I'll write the player has a higher flush wins with a higher flush. There we go, that looks better. All right. Now, if that's not true, if the player does not have the higher hand, then we're going to assume the casino wins then. Because even if they're tied, the casino wins ties. So else, we're going to do alert. the casino wins with a higher flush. I forgot to put quotation marks there. There we go. Now keep in mind, we are actually inside an if statement here, like this guy right here. We're still inside of this if else. Okay, now we can actually test this out. So we should be able to run this. Everything looks good. We should be able to run it. Okay, so what this player has, oh, this is a flush, perfect. And this person doesn't. So let's just say the player wins. Player wins with a flush. Excellent. We'll do maybe another try. Dime. Okay, this time the casino has a flush. Casino. That's probably good. Now you could test it more if you want. You could actually put the values in here, the suits and the hands. That would probably be the best way to do it instead of randomly. So you could actually write in here like player suit, diamonds, diamonds, clubs, clubs, or just do it enough times. Now I'm going to leave you at this point because I want you to try to compare pairs and compare the highest cards at the end. Now the only hint I will give though is the next one should also be an else if. We only want it checking these things if none of these were true. Okay, we don't want the computer going through all of this and then you have to do extra logic in there. And you might end up having both a flush and a pair. Well, maybe that might not happen, but you have the highest card for sure. And so we only want this, it's saying one thing, so it's an else if the whole way. I think that's everything. And if you have any questions, just let me know.